With the trade deadline now in the rearview mirror, we are getting pretty close to the conclusion of the regular season here in year number 5 of the Portland Trail Blazers MyNBA franchise here on NBA 2K24. We had a pretty busy trade deadline as we looked to add some veterans who can give us some championship experience, and I think we did a really good job of solidifying this roster with Damian Lillard, Marvin Bagley, and Matisse Thybulle via trades, along with signing Dante DiVincenzo out of free agency. Obviously, the biggest addition here is Lillard, who is one of the all-time Portland Trailblazer greats. And the storyline to start this series in the very first episode was the Damian Lillard trade. And that package ultimately netted us Ochai Agbaji, who's been a great role player for us, and draft picks that turned into Kristaps Porzingis and Caleb Marsh. Obviously, he had some great seasons in Miami before signing with Las Vegas. And since he is retiring at the end of the year, there wasn't really a reason for Vegas to keep him, because, well, they're one of the worst teams in the NBA. With our team being in the perfect position to run the table and win the finals, much of the other really strong teams in the NBA were ultra aggressive, and we had, without a doubt, the craziest trade deadline in the history of the NBA, with all of the movement we had, with many top teams adding big-time pieces. The Lakers traded for Ja Morant with all the assets they have. The Knicks added Kevin Durant and Donovan Mitchell, 2 new stars for New York. Karl Anthony Towns was sent to Oklahoma City in a package that included Jalen Williams going back to Minnesota. Jimmy Butler is now on the Kings, and I feel like with that addition, Sacramento is the biggest threat for our hopes, because they have a 9-man rotation that I think can rival just about anybody. They are extremely deep and well-rounded, and those weren't all the moves. There were still plenty of other good ones as well. As it stands now, the Blazers are without 4 of our 5 starters. MVP candidate Darius Springer is the only healthy starter, and that's been the case for the last 4 games or so. And we've had some interesting results, including a win in the last episode that we played against Detroit. The Pistons did their best to come back, but Springer dropped a career-high 51, while Dame had 28 in his debut. We outshot them at the line 30-4, and in the second half, the disparity was 25-0. Of course, Springer is in second in the MVP race, only behind Luka Doncic, but I feel like Springer made a really compelling case in our 10-point win over Dallas. The point of the MVP award is to distinguish who the most valuable player in the league is in terms of how they help winning. Darius Springer is the best player on the best team in the NBA. Luka Doncic, meanwhile, has barely been able to scratch and claw this team to a play-in spot in the West. And Darius Springer, without his 4 other starting teammates, just beat Luka. And sure, we have good backups and role players, but that's what they are, backups and role players. Springer has made it all the way up to second in terms of estimated wins added, only trailing Luka Doncic. So sure, Doncic's regular stats and his advanced stats are a little bit better, but historically, the NBA has really prioritized giving the MVP award to a guy who's on a really good team, and Darius Springer has been just as impactful as Luka. We did lose our last game before the break against the Sixers, but I'm not really worried about it. It was a back-to-back right before the All-Star break, again without 4 of our 5 starters, so I get it. We're still comfortably in first place going into the break at 47-9. We're 8 games ahead of Sacramento for the number 1 seed, and we should be able to clinch the number 1 seed, hopefully, with multiple weeks left to go in the regular season. As for the rest of the Western Conference, all hell is broken loose outside of 3rd place, and it's going to be a very competitive race the rest of the way. Of course, the Eastern Conference as well has been ultra tight, with 11 teams within 7.5 games. And I think it's pretty fair to say all of the moves during the trade deadline certainly will help shape the rest of this NBA season, whether it's some of the stars who were moved or some of the role players. I'm curious to see how everything shapes up. Looking at the numbers for the team going into the All-Star break, everybody, of course, has had great seasons. Now, the storyline I'm curious about is how the team is going to perform once the other 4 starters are healthy, because all 4 of those guys are going to come back within the next 2 to 3 weeks. The storyline I'm especially interested is once Scoot Henderson comes back, Damian Lillard's going to have to go to the bench, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But first, I want to look at the NBA All-Star festivities. So, of course, we only have 1 All-Star, which is a travesty for a team that's 47-9, and that, obviously, is Darius Springer, his 2nd career All-Star appearance, very well deserved. He was great in the All-Star game last year coming off the bench, and now this year he will make his first ever All-Star start. Nonetheless, I can't help feel like some of the other guys deserved to make it. I think Scoot Henderson, Khalil Griffin would be here if not for injury, so I can understand that. Both of them have missed close to half of the season, but Shaedon Sharpe not being an all-star is inexcusable. I had some comments in the last episode suggesting that it's because of his injury. I don't quite think that's the case, because he's all the way down in 8th place in terms of voting, even though he has better numbers than Kyrie Irving, Anthony Edwards, and Stephen Curry. Curry's supposed to retire at the end of the year, so I get giving him the spot, but Sharpe should 100% be ahead of Edwards and Irving. I suppose there's a chance he could have made it as an all-star replacement, but now that he is hurt, I think that idea likely won't happen. And obviously Griffin and Scoot won't make it as replacements either. So we're going to go through the Rising Stars game first. We have one representative here, of course, Caleb Marsh, who will not be playing on Team USA. He, of course, is from Australia, teaming up with first-time All-Star Dante Del Toro, amongst others. Marsh has obviously had a great season. He's the only player on the roster to have played every game this year. To find somebody as reliable as him as a rookie is really impressive, and he is definitely one of the best players in this Rising Stars game, so I'm curious to see if he'll be able to help lead his team to a win. Team World is on the left, Team USA is on the right. I guess we're going for Team World because they've got our guy Caleb Marsh, and Team World does win, 123-109. Chance Corradino at the Atlanta Hawks leads Team USA with 19 points. Cyrus Warwick at the Sixers with 17. Warwick was part of the Tyrese Maxey trade package, and he's had an unbelievable season with the Sixers. A possible most improved player candidate, and he's been the best player on a Sixers team that could make the play-in. Eamon Seaman at the Spurs wins the Rising Stars MVP. He scored 29. A quiet 11-8 for Del Toro. As for Caleb Marsh, he shot a toward 8. 2 for 10 from the field, 1 for 9 from 2. He did have 9 boards and 4 assists, though, so he was making an impact outside of the scoring. That brings us to All-Star Saturday night, where we do have a couple of participants. We don't have anybody in the three-point contest. I feel like Amel Wright is probably going to blow these guys out of the water. But in the dunk contest, we have both Darius Springer and Caleb Marsh, and I think Khalil Griffin actually had a chance to be here if not for the injury. Troyland Battle's here as well. It's a travesty that he didn't get in the All-Star game as well, along with the reigning number 1 overall pick, Bryson Franklin. As much as I would like to play with our guys in the dunk contest, unfortunately the dunk contest is so bad in this game, as we've seen in the past with Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe, so we're going to simulate it, hoping for good news, and we get good news. Khalil Griffin is fully healthy. We don't get good news with the dunk contest, though. It is won by Troyland Battle, while Jaden Hardy at the Knicks wins the three-point shootout. That brings us into the All-Star game. Darius Springer starting for the Western Conference team. The West has so much more size than the East. They're starting Brandon Miller at the 5. That looks like a field day for Jokic. We're going to do what we did last year and player lock with Darius Springer when he's in the game and simulate when he's out of the game. So the Eastern Conference will start with the ball. Here's Tatum guarded by Dante Del Toro. Tatum inside for Giannis, who dunks it over Springer. Not quite the start to the All-Star game that our boy was looking for. Jokic with it. A dime for Darius Springer. A great cut off the ball and a nifty pass by Jokic. I feel like Springer and Jokic in the same offense would really complement each other's skill sets really well. Not saying it's ever going to happen, but they would be a really fun duo. Here's Del Toro with it. Springer on the pick and roll. Inside. Layup is good. Springer's doing the dirty work so far, setting screens, and he's been rewarded with points as he has scored the first 4 for the Western Conference. Giannis, heavily contested 3 is good. I didn't know Giannis had that capability. The back-to-back finals MVP makes it 8-4 for the East. As here's Curry in his final All-Star game to Springer. Back to Curry for 3. Obviously, we're going to look to get Curry plenty of looks from deep, but our focus is on winning the game, of course. Shot no good. Springer finally with his first rebound, and he's going to look to run the floor. Obviously, being a lot more used as an on-the-ball player this year in Portland as he gets another assist connecting with Jokic. Giannis open for 3. He misses it. Springer daring him to shoot, and here comes the Western Conference in transition. Springer finds the lane, sends it home, and Darius Springer already with 8 points on 3 of 3 shooting from the field. He's been super efficient so far. Here's LaMelo Ball with it over to Brandon Miller. Miller blows by Springer, who falls asleep on defense. Look at that score, by the way. The East is up by 10. The offense for this Western Conference team is abysmal. As Miller hits the 3, it's a 13-point game. Darius Springer individually has been fine. He's 3 for 3 from the field. His teammates are 3 for 13, including 1 for 7 from 3. I guess Springer's got to do everything as he ends up with the steal, poking it away from Booker. Jalen Green on the other end, no good. Springer unable to grab the rebound as it's hauled in by Evan Mobley. That's just the kind of day it's been for the West offense as Tatum misses the three. Springer looks to run the floor, and the pass is offline. Springer still gets it, though. On the drive, misses the layup. A rare miss from Darius Springer, his first of the game. He has been infected with whatever else everybody else on this offense has. Green inside, Springer, pick and roll. And Springer's got 10. The rest of the team has 9. How do you score 19 points in a quarter of an all-star game? You should be scoring like 50. An embarrassing start for the Western Conference. Just an abysmal display of scoring. And again, Darius Springer's 4 for 5. Everybody else is 3 for 16. And 1 for 9 from 3. That's not good. So we're going to hop in here in the second quarter. Pretty much the same deficit at 13. Zion Williamson wide open. Bricks the 3. It's a loose ball foul on Jalen Green. It's just been that kind of day for the West. I don't know what it is. Here comes Giannis with it inside. Bullies Springer as Giannis Antetokounmpo is in for the layup. Here is Curry with it. Gets the screen from Springer. Curry with it over to Jokic. His shot is no good. Springer with the offensive rebound, and he gets the putback. Continuing to make plays. He's got 12 and 8 early, but it doesn't matter. The West is down by 15. Doncic, 3, no good. He was open, too. We're kind of choosing to be a hater with Luka Doncic. Don't let him get a ton of good looks. Trying to prove who the real MVP is, as Springer has a wide open lane off the screen from Chet Holmgren. And he is in for the slam. Deficit now, though, sits at 16. Morant to Tatum for 3. Springer has trouble getting away from the screen. Shot no good anyway. Luka with it. He doesn't want to pass to Springer either. He's got Green over to Springer inside. Layup is good. And it's now 16, 8, and 3 for Darius Springer as he gets it over to Chet Holmgren, who's open. Clank. Another brick for the West. It's a 19-point game. LaMelo with it. Open 3 is good. And the Eastern Conference is now up by 22 points. I don't know what else to say. This is a disaster. One more shot for the West. Jalen Green, clank, another miss. And the East is dominating here through the first half. 51 points in one half of an all-star game, again, is just inexcusable. Darius Springer's pulling his weight. He's got 16, 8, and 3. But the West as a team is shooting 39% from the field, which is an upgrade from where they were in the first quarter, to be fair. Springer with his actual team of All-Stars in Portland, it doesn't look this bad. I don't know why this is the case with real All-Stars. In the third, Tatum heaves up a prayer, and it is answered. Again, it has just been that kind of day for the Eastern Conference. Here is Springer with it over to Jokic. He gets it to Curry with the screen. John Morant is playing smothering defense. My brother, you're up by 25 in an All-Star game. As Springer gets the layup, another nice play off the ball, and a good assist from the chef, Steph Curry. Springer looking for the screen from Del Toro, two of the brightest stars in our league, as Dante is in for the slam. Both Del Toro and Springer wear number 12. I'm not sure why the league won't let them wear their same numbers, but ultimately it is Darius Springer who got to keep 12, while Dante needed a new number for the day. Jumper is good from Curry, an assist from Springer in transition, rebounding the LaMelo Ball free-throw miss. 59-83. Here's Tatum. Winds up a prayer. It is not good this time. Finally a miss. Springer with the rebound, his 10th. It's a double-double. He gets it over to Curry. Springer with it. Blows by Giannis! And is in for the reverse. 20, 10, and 5. Now for Darius Springer, continuing his electrifying All-Star game. And again, he's doing it on great efficiency. Only 2 misses from the field as Morant misses. Good defense by the West. Could this be the start of the rally? Crossover, Springer, Jokic, 3-ball. That one is good. As Nikola Jokic brings the lead all the way down to 21. It's now at 24, though. Springer with the screen. Jokic inside, makes the layup. Again, this two-man game with Jokic and Springer has been really effective. And Jokic hasn't been good otherwise, except for when he's been able to make plays with Springer. Curry sends it to Springer, nearly a backcourt. Springer with it, hands it off for Dante, who is blocked. Man, what a play by Giannis. And again, it's just been that kind of day for the West. Here's Springer. Turn around. He's intercepted. The LaMelo Ball comes flying in. to force the turnover. Inside for Morant! Oh my lord! What a slam by Ja Morant. Springer now. Hello! He gets a big dunk of his own as the Stars are putting on a show. Tomahawk for Springer. He's got 22, along with now 11 rebounds and 7 assists, looking for another All-Star Game triple-double. Springer's guarded by Morant. That is a mismatch. It's lunchtime for Springer. And hey, the lead is down to 17. We're making a comeback. So let's hop into the fourth quarter now. The target score is 125. The East is up by 20. So in other words, it's not looking good, especially when Giannis is continuing to hit threes. The East is in takeover mode, so we'll see if they're able to go on a little bit of a run. The starters are back in, of course, for the Western Conference, including Springer as Curry heaves one up, and it's good! Oh, wow, finally, a tough shot falls. A broken clock is right twice a day, I guess. Springer, pump fake, all alone. Oh, my goodness! Darius Springer through the legs with some power and some flair. This really is an all-star game with the style points on these dunks. 26 now for Springer as Giannis has fouled on the three. What's the number one rule of defense? Don't foul the jump shooter. Somehow, someway, Giannis Antetokounmpo would make all three at the line. So in other words, this game is just about over. Again, the target score is 125, and the East is getting pretty close. Giannis with it over to Morant. And, well, Springer could not have played better defense, but Morant is continuing to put on a show. All the East needs now is a three. Springer looking to lead the charge as he gets it over to Elias Sharp at the Timberwolves, who connects on the triple. Again, the East just 3 points away from winning as Morant is fouled and one. That could do it. The refs are looking to get out of here. They're calling shooting fouls on plays where the foul was 4 steps before the shot. Morant misses for the win. Springer with it, looking to keep the West alive. Back to Sharp. Another three for Elias Sharp. That's Springer's 9th assist of the game. The East now just needs one more point, though. Booker, guarded by Sharp. He gets it to Morant at the top of the key, guarded by Doncic. Giannis, Miller, game time! I feel like it's fitting that Darius Springer was the one who allowed the game winner because he just had so many unlucky things go for him today. While Springer helped lead the West to an all-star win last year, this season that's not quite the case. The Eastern Conference with a big lead in the first quarter, and they do not look back as Giannis adds another trophy to the trophy case. It's an all-star game MVP for the Greek Freak. 25, 17, and 7 for Giannis. He was quite impressive. Tatum had a good game, double-double for Morant. The Eastern Conference was just so steady on both sides of the ball. The Western Conference scored less than 100 points. Again, this is an all-star game. That is embarrassing. Springer was great, 26, 12, and 9. He only missed 2 shots the entire game. And the interesting trend that I noticed, all the young guys played well. Midnight Hopkins scored 14 points in 6 minutes, 4 for 5 from 3. Elias Sharp played 5 minutes. He scored 8 on 2 for 2 from 3. Dante Del Toro wasn't half bad. He had 10 points on plus shooting. The 4 players who were actually drafted in this series all shot above 50%. The older players who were already in the league, none of them shot above 50%. And look at these tour dates. Jalen Green, 2 for 10 from the field, 1 for 7 from 3. Jokic, 3 for 10. Luka, 3 for 12 from the field, 1 for 10 from deep. Curry, 3 for 11. Holmgren, 1 for 5. I mean, there was barely any movement off the ball. There was no chemistry whatsoever. And it's not like the defense was that good. It's an all-star game. How do you score under 100 points in an NBA all-star game? I don't get it. So with that, we're here at the final stretch of the regular season. The Blazers are looking to get healthier now. Darius Springer's actual team of all-stars hoping to clinch the number 1 seed and do so in timely fashion. Khalil Griffin, of course, is already back. He'll be good to go for this game against Minnesota. And again, where we stand now at 47-9, 7.5 games in first. Minnesota, meanwhile, is in 10th place, barely in the play-in tournament. They need all the wins they can get. They started the year off strong. Then they really went on a long losing streak. I think they lost 11 in a row. But they've won 3 straight. They're starting to play better. The Wolves got Jalen Williams at the deadline. He will not play with a back injury, while Porzingis, Sharp, and Scoot were all still out. But all 3 of them are set to return within the next couple of weeks. So this is what the lineup is going to look like for right now until we start getting guys back healthy, leading us into our game here against the Minnesota Timberwolves, who, of course, we know pretty well. We played them in the postseason a few years ago. And with Jalen Williams out, look who they're starting at the 4. It's Armani Robinson, who was part of the Marvin Bagley trade. And so far, Robinson's played really well with Minnesota. They've thrown him in the starting lineup, and he's actually been quite good. Double figures in all 4 games, double-doubles in 3 of them, and he's been pretty efficient. Obviously, they're led by their backcourt. Anthony Edwards, the big name here, who's been slightly disappointing this year, but still good. Elias Sharp, meanwhile, I feel like has become the best player on this team. Sharp, the former Rookie of the Year, torched us in the playoffs a couple seasons ago. We know how dangerous he is. He leads all players across the NBA in assists, and he was one of the few guys on the Western Conference All-Star team who actually didn't look half bad out there. So we'll see how Springer, Griffin, and the backups will perform against the Minnesota team who knows they need all the wins they can get. Both teams coming in a little shorthanded. Both Jalen Williams and Rudy Gobert have been banged up. Gobert will actually play a little bit today. And of course, Portland, meanwhile, still without 3 starters, but all the injuries this year haven't hurt us in the win column yet, as Wisham wins the tip and we are underway. Wisham, of course, with a 6-inch size advantage over their center, Naz Reid. Lillard, step back, tray ball is good! And Damian Lillard gets the scoring started for Portland as it's 3-0. Looks like a little pick and pop here for Minnesota. Out to Naz Reid for 3, and that one is good. The man, the myth, the legend, Naz Reid ties this game. 5-3 now, Minnesota. Portland looking to move up the floor quickly, but Elias Sharp is there with the interception on the pass from Lillard. Sharp is doubled out to David Roddy, who is wide open. And Roddy hits the 3. Minnesota up by 5 early. Portland looking to respond. Springer on the drive. Sends it home with the left hand. Of course, these next 20 or so games is going to be Springer's chance to prove that he is the MVP. How many of those games will he play? Who knows if Portland clinches the 1 seed early. Springer, step back. Another 3 for Portland as they go on a 7-0 run. Now tied at 12. Anthony Edwards with it, guarded by Abaji, and he is blocked by Springer. Robinson no good, grabs another rebound. Roddy, 3 is good. That was Armani Robinson, the former Blazer, with a pair of big offensive rebounds and the assist. Zay Logan for 3. He looked like he was open, but is no good. Portland starting strong early from deep, but he doesn't get that one to fall. Edwards, however, does, despite a quick closeout for DiVincenzo. 20-16. Here's Dante DiVincenzo with it inside for Zay Logan, who goes for the layup. It looked like he was going to have an open lane to slam it home, but Edwards was there quickly to stop that. Layup still good, though. Griffin, jumper. That one will fall. Khalil Griffin's first field goal in around a month. He hasn't played since the end of January. Griffin's had a few different injuries this year, but has obviously been very effective when healthy as he hits the 3 on the wing. Had he been healthy, I think he absolutely would have been an all-star with how efficient he's been as a scorer. Tough 3 in the corner for Devin Vassell. Will fall. That'll put the Wolves ahead, 25-24, with around a minute left in a low-scoring first quarter. Tyrone Jamerson with it. He gets it over to Christian Koloko, the former Blazer, who was also part of that Armani Robinson, Marvin Bagley swap. 3-point game. Griffin on the drive. Layup is good for Khalil Griffin, who hasn't missed a beat despite not playing in around a month. Here is Vassell with it, guarded tightly by the rookie Marsh. Out to Tyrone Jamerson for 3. It is good. And the Timberwolves are now up by 4. Griffin thinks about the shot, won't take. Over to Malachi Suleiman on the drive. He's doubled. Leaving Khalil Griffin wide open is a bad idea. I mean, even leaving Griffin in single coverage is a bad idea. He's more efficient as a scorer than any wing in the NBA. Floater is good by Tyrone Jamerson, 32-29. It's Griffin with it here at the end of the quarter. Layup is good, and Khalil Griffin has accounted for over half of Portland's points. He has 16 of their 31 here in the first. Elias Sharp will get the last shot for Minnesota. It is no good. And a competitive start to this one. 32-31, the Timberwolves with the lead over Portland. Now into the second. Vassell with it in the corner, guarded by Griffin, who's played the entire game so far. Vassell gets a little bit of space and misses the 3. Koloko there with the board and the putback. And he got that rebound over the guy he was traded for, Marvin Bagley, who was supposed to be an upgrade for us. Edwards, transition 3 is good, despite nice defense by Damian Lillard. 37-31. Here's Sua Talonyi. He gets it over to Edwards. Abaji fooled on the fake. Edwards' layup is good. I don't know what Ochai was thinking there. It's been a slow start for Abaji on both ends of the floor tonight. as Lillard is blocked. He gets it back, though, over to Marvin Bagley, and he's blocked as well. It's Koloko, who got a hand on both of those shots. On the other end, Edwards guarded by Lillard, and he's blocked at the rim. That looked like an easy bucket for Ant-Man, but he was stuffed by Griffin. Lillard out to Griffin for the slam. What a play by Khalil Griffin with the block and the dunk. Khalil Griffin has been electric tonight. Wide open corner three will fall. That's Sua Talani, who's not a great shooter. That's why Springer was slow to defend him, but he makes it anyway. Springer back in the game with 7 and 5. Posts up on the significantly smaller Devin Vassell. Springer's been solid, but he hasn't taken over the game yet like Griffin has, as he posts up on David Roddy, and that one is good. Roddy is tough and physical. He's built like a linebacker, but he's not taller than Darius Springer, and Springer knows how to win that battle. Jamerson up, and away with the slam. Jamerson's been really effective as a scorer for them off the bench, averaging 19 a night, as Malachi Suleiman responds with a slam. Suleiman as well, a strong bench player for opposite reasons as Jamerson. Not a good scorer, but he's good at everything else. Springer with another easy shot inside. The Wolves can't keep having these smaller guys on Springer, as Abaji misses that one inside. Ochai Abaji yet to score so far. He's played so well over the last couple of months, but today has not been his day. Edwards with the floater. I don't know how that shot went in. By the majestic touch of God, I guess. 8-point game. Jamerson with it on the drive. Another slam for Tyrone Jamerson. The lead sits at 10 now, 53-43. Portland's got to wake up. Other than Griffin and Springer, this team looks asleep. Zay Logan with the throwdown off the assist by Khalil Griffin, who looks to re-energize this team after his big start. Here's Naz Reid for three once again, as Reid puts Minnesota up by 11, their biggest lead of the game. Griffin, pump fake, fools the defender, windmill slam! Khalil Griffin is that guy. It's unfortunate he's been hurt. Otherwise, not only would he have been an all-star, but probably an all-NBA player. I mean, he certainly deserves it, if nothing else. As Edwards is there with the layup, winning the battle with Abaji, continuing his rough night. 59-50, Sharp is doubled, out to Roddy. He's hit a few open threes today. How about another? David Roddy from deep. It's a 10-point game, 62-52, little over a minute left in the half. Lillard with it on the screen for three, no good. Bagley with the rebound, though. He gets it over to Griffin on the drive. Layup is good. Griffin's ability to score in contact really separates him from other scorers like him. There's a reason why he's been so efficient, averaging 57% from the field. That is wild. Right as I'm gassing him up, he lets David Roddy blow right by him. Griffin's so much faster than Roddy, he can't let that happen. Here's Elias Sharp for three. It is good. And the Wolves are back up by 11 with just seconds left in the half. Springer, wide open three is no good. Portland started the game hot, 4 for 4 from three, but since then, they've missed 7 in a row. Minnesota looking for one more shot before the end of the half. It's Elias Sharp with it, has it stripped away, but he picks it up to Vassell. He misses the three. Portland's going to look to heave it up quickly. It's Abaji from half court, and that one is no good. 67-56, Minnesota with the lead. Defensively, the Blazers have been inconsistent. Offensively, the Blazers have just been bad. Khalil Griffin is 22. Springer's been pretty good, but nobody else has shown up. The Blazers have really relied on their two stars. And see, sometimes the team of backups and role players isn't going to show up, which makes the wins like Dallas all the more impressive. There's Elias Sharp starting the third quarter for three. 71-56. The lead is now up to 15. Griffin with the screen from Springer. Sends it home again. If nobody else is going to play well, I guess Griffin and Springer having a little two-man game certainly can't hurt. Here's Springer with it, looking for the screen. This one from Bagley. Springer on the drive. Layup is good. Naz Reid tries to draw the charge, but he's unsuccessful. Good play from Springer as he's guarded by his former teammate, Armani Robinson. No good. Gets the rebound, though, his ninth. Out to Abaji with it. Back to Springer. Pump fake. Jumper is good. What a great play there by Springer. Even off the miss, he's able to rebound by literally rebounding and hitting the second chance shot. Off the miss. Here's Armani Robinson with it. Nice move. Layup is good. Robinson and Koloko are both significantly outplaying Marvin Bagley in this game. And Minnesota so far has to feel pretty happy with this trade. Marsh inside for Bagley, who's on the board with a slam. Portland's offense had gone cold. They needed a basket, and they get one here with Marvelous Marv. And they're going to go back to him again. The pick and roll, this time with Zay Logan. as the assister. 11-point game now. Robinson is off the mark. Portland looking to run the floor quickly. Marsh has had a quiet game, out to Khalil Griffin, guarded by Roddy. That's just such an easy mismatch. Griffin just dusts right by him, and he's in for the layup. 26 now, a game high for Khalil Griffin. Looking to get somebody open off the screen. It's Caleb Marsh. Thinks about the shot, won't take. Instead, drives inside. Layup is good. The weakness with Minnesota is their lack of interior defense. As much as everybody loves Naz Reid, myself included, I don't know if he's the center you really want defending the paint. So Portland's looking to attack that area off of the Blazer miss. Here is Elias Sharp, who sends it home in transition. 81-70 now. Marsh brings it up for the Blazers. He gets it over to Zay Logan off the screen for three. Logan connects on the triple. The lead down to 8, the closest it's been in a little while. Edwards on the drive. His shot is no good. Reid with the offensive rebound. And Naz Reid is there with the putback. 8-point game once again. Vassell hands it off for Elias Sharp, guarded by Damian Lillard. Vassell, 3. It's good. The Wolves are back ahead by 11. Minnesota's had a comfortable lead since the first quarter, and they have not looked back. Lillard with it on the screen from Wisham. Fadeaway 3 is no good. Wisham's there with the rebound. He's doubled. Springer, for Lord knows what reason, is wide open. He hits the 3. 86-78 now off the triple by Springer, who's got 22. Here's Devin Vassell inside for Koloko, who gets the dunk. Koloko's played an awesome game today. Lillard with it, screen from Wisham. They're going to go back to the same play. Fadeaway 3 is good this time. The Blazers have found a glitch in the system. Have Wisham go on pick and rolls, shoot the ball, but if you miss it, Wisham's going to get the offensive rebound because he's taller than everybody. Although the failed lob from Minnesota, it's Lillard to Marsh to Wisham! Great ball movement by the Blazers. Finished off by a highlight slam by Ashton Wisham, who probably can get his head above the rim. He's so tall. 88-83. The lead now sits at 5. Springer pump fake out to Marsh on the drive. Caleb Marsh's layup is good. It's a one-score game all of a sudden. That's Springer's first assist of the game, by the way. How did he get 9 in the All-Star game where nobody else could shoot the ball? Jamerson with a big corner 3. Minnesota with a huge shot, looking to get some momentum back, and they do. Elias Sharp for 3. That one's good. This game was within 3 a minute ago. The lead is right back to 11. Big stretch for the Wolves. Springer is doubled. Out to Marsh. Open 3. Won't fall. Rebounded by Roddy. Here comes Minnesota. Devin Vassell with it. Gets it over to Elias Sharp. His 3. Won't fall. Springer with the rebound. His 10th. Another double-double. Out to Lillard. Final shot of the third is no good. Most of that quarter, the Blazers played quite well. They had the lead within 3, but it's back at 11. Portland made up no ground in the third quarter. It was an 11-point game going into halftime. Now Portland's going to need a big comeback in the fourth. What a block by Koloko. It's a shot clock violation. 99-89. Springer with it on the drive. He sends it down. Big slam for Springer. Minnesota calls time. Portland's looking good early here in the fourth, but it is early. And all it takes is for a few big shots from Minnesota, such as this one from Edwards. He called bank, and we're back within 10. Marsh over to DiVincenzo inside for Khalil Griffin, who has it stolen by Vassell. Out to Tyrone Jamerson. Layup is good, despite good defense from Marsh and Bagley. 103-93, under 6 to go. Got to start a rally now or never. Springer with it, pick and pop, but he sends it home with the and one. A huge play for Portland. Could that be the spark that they've been looking for and haven't been able to get the entire game? Jamerson's had a great game. Brings it up for the Wolves. Edwards looks to get open for 3. Clearly hit, but there's no foul. They absolutely should have called a shooting foul on Zay Logan, but Portland just dodged a bullet. And they capitalize as Griffin is guarded by Rudy Gobert, who's old, slow, and injured. In other words, that's lunchtime! Khalil Griffin leaves him in the dust. And the lead is within 5 off the slam for Griffin, who's now got 30. 103-98. Vassell, no good. Rebound by Jamerson. He's blocked. I think Griffin was the one who got a hand on it. On the other end, Lillard, 3. Bang! What time is it? It's Dame time. The lead within 2. Portland back with it. Springer is doubled. He tries to get it over to Griffin. Out to Springer. Mid-ranger for the tie. That one is good. This was a 10-point game a minute ago. Portland has just tied it. The Blazers have finally gone on their big run. Jamerson with a huge layup for the Timberwolves. They needed that one bad. Minnesota back up by 2. Wide open in the corner. Abaji for the lead. No good, but Griffin's there with the putback slam. What a play there by Khalil Griffin, who gets by Vassell and flies to the rim to tie this game. Khalil Griffin's been the best player on the floor tonight. He has looked special. Jamerson, 3 is good. Tyrone Jamerson with another unbelievable shot. 3-point lead for the Wolves with 3 to go. Edwards is off the mark. Springer with the rebound. He gets it over to Zay Logan. Nobody guards him, and Logan has it within 1. If you're going to leave the paint wide open, Zay Logan is going to capitalize. Naz Reid guarded by Wisham. Portland's playing big. Abaji is not in the game. Instead, they're running 4 forwards as Edwards hits the jumper. 3-point lead. The Blazers are looking to take advantage of their size on both ends of the floor as Springer gets it over to Logan. No good. Griffin with another offensive rebound. Out to Springer on the drive. No good. He gets his own miss. He's trapped. Out to Griffin for the tie. Bang! What a play by Khalil Griffin. He's got 35, 10, and 5. We're knotted up at 110. Under 2 to go now. Elias Sharp. That one is good for the lead. And Minnesota's back up by 2. 21 for Sharp. It feels like he has more. Lillard with it on the drive. Out to Wisham for the slam. Great job running the rim by Ashton Wisham. We're now tied at 112 as Wisham is there with the steal. Portland looking for the lead. Griffin on the fast break. Out to Logan. Pump fake. Logan to Wisham to Springer for 3. Bang! Springer has Portland ahead by 3. And the Blazers can taste it. But Minnesota's in takeover mode. Here is Roddy with it off the pass from Anthony Edwards. Back to Edwards for 3. Bang! We're tied! But Edwards appears to be hurt, grabbing at his right knee. Certainly not good news for Minnesota. He makes the shot, but it looked like he landed awkwardly. Griffin didn't give him a lot of space to land, and it looked like he landed on Griffin's leg as we look at the replay. And yeah, it's nothing malicious, obviously, from Khalil Griffin. He's just trying to defend him. But Edwards ultimately lands awkwardly, and now Minnesota loses one of their key scorers at the worst time. A tie game with a minute left. Lillard fakes the shot to Logan for the lead. Nice little pick and roll. Lillard was looking to score, but Logan was wide open. Roddy for 3, and the lead. It's no good. Springer grabs the rebound. Minnesota will not foul. Interesting strategy. So Portland's going to take some time away. It's Lillard with it, guarded by Vassell. Now with around 20 to go, screen from Wisham. Lillard, fadeaway 3. Bang! What time is it? It's Dame time. 5-point lead for the Trailblazers with under 20 to go. What a shot from Damian Lillard, who hasn't had the best individual game, but he has been clutch over these past few minutes with some of the biggest offensive plays of the night. His reward, he's going to be taken out of the game. For defensive purposes, we're going to bring in Malachi Suleiman. Now, I will say, though, I would rather have Griffin guard Elias Sharp. Obviously, we have 4 forwards in the game, so we're going to have the size advantage. I assume Tyrone Jamerson will be in at the 2 instead of Edwards, so ideally we would have Darius Springer on him, and then Malachi Suleiman would be stuck with David Roddy, who's obviously the worst offensive player on the floor for Minnesota. Suleiman is a capable defender, but he's smaller than these guys, so I'd rather really have Sharp and Jamerson locked down because those are the 2 best shot creators on the floor for Minnesota. So it's a 5-point game. The Timberwolves looking for a prayer, hoping to do what the Pistons were able to do in the last episode, as it's Devin Vassell, not Jamerson, and he is fouled by Abaji. It's a blocking foul. So Abaji ends up coming in the game for Logan. He guards Vassell, and he will ultimately end up making the first free throw. I still don't really get why they don't have Jamerson in the game with how effective he's been offensively, as Vassell misses the second one. Springer with the rebound. He's fouled by Armani Robinson. Off the inbound, it's Lillard going to the line. He would make his first. Second is good as well. So it is a 6-point game. Lillard will now be in defensively, though. The one not-so-good thing about him shooting the 3 throws. Minnesota's going to have to get rid of it quick. It's Robinson. No good. Rebounded by Griffin. He'll be fouled by Naz Reid, and I think that should just about do it with only a few seconds left on the clock. Khalil Griffin at the line, looking for his 36th and 37th points, and he will make both. And that's going to be the dagger. What an impressive win here for Portland. And obviously, it was not a complete team performance. Outside of Khalil Griffin and Darius Springer, the rest of the team sleptwalked through the first 3 quarters of this game, but luckily they were able to turn it on in the fourth, showing that this veteran team obviously has the capability to get things going when need be, which could be important come playoff time. But if this was a playoff game, maybe Minnesota never lets us back in it. Khalil Griffin was the best player on the floor tonight. He was unbelievable. Darius Springer was great as well. The two combining for 69 points. Nice. 27 boards, 10 assists. Both of them shot the ball really well. I just want to look at Griffin's efficiencies real quick because he's putting up video game numbers. 50, 40, 90 is good for most players. That would be bad for Khalil Griffin. And again, if he was healthy the whole year, we'd be talking all NBA. He's shooting close to 60, 50, 95. I'm going to assume that's never been done in NBA history before. It would be an uphill battle for him to reach those marks, but he's close. 57% from the field, 48% from three, 93% from the line. I don't think any player in NBA history has been that overall efficient. Springer, obviously, again, was great. Did not have a good game from Ochai, and that's kind of the thing with Abaji. He's been really good this year, don't get me wrong, but there are just a couple games where he just doesn't show up. He's been very solid this year. He's had some really impressive high-end performances that I didn't know was in him, but he's been a little bit less consistent than the past. The highs have been higher and the lows have been lower. Edwards with 25 on 25 shots and a knee injury. Tyrone Jamerson with a big game. Really impressed by him. He's bounced around, spent some time with Orlando and Sacramento, but he's a good player. Elias Sharp with 21. Koloko was great. 9, 4, 3, 4 blocks, no misses in 12 minutes. He never played that well with us. Nonetheless, a solid win, come from behind against Minnesota. And with that, we're going to do some simulating to wrap up the episode, simulating through this game against the Sonics. So we're going through quite a bit of time, around 2.5 weeks. That's 8 games. And we're going to start to get some guys back healthy. For right now, this is what the lineup looks like. I'm going to experiment with Marvin Bagley at the 5, as Scoot Henderson will be healthy in time for our first game of this stretch against the Hornets. He hasn't played since December. We've certainly missed him, and now he will return. Obviously, he is starting. He's a better player than Damian Lillard. So that means Lillard will come off the bench. He's never done it in his NBA career, so it's going to be an adjustment for him. I think he can handle it, though. He's going to lead the offense, and he's going to have other guys who can score, such as Marsh and Logan and eventually Ochai Agbaji. I'm curious to see how Lillard does. This man hated coming off the bench so badly that he got injured in his first game doing so and might be out for the rest of the regular season. So he's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks with a high left ankle sprain, and ideally, by the time he's healthy, which there's probably going to be around 2 weeks left in the regular season, by that point, hopefully, we will have the number 1 seed locked up. So if that is the case, we're probably going to be playing most of our young guys the rest of the season. It wouldn't make sense to play a 37-year-old who is coming off an ankle injury. So ideally, if everything goes well, we're not going to need to see Damian Lillard until the playoffs. So I guess he's only going to have 1 regular season game off the bench. Shaedon Sharpe is back healthy. He will return to the 2. Ochai Agbaji will turn to the bench. And with that, our core 4 is now fully healthy for the first time since December. Ochai Agbaji then immediately gets hurt. He'll be out for a week or 2 with a back injury. But Kristaps Porzingis is back. And now the starting 5 is fully healthy. We ended up going 6-2 in our 8-game stretch. Could have done better for our standards, but obviously not bad. We had a game-winning pair of free throws here in this Spurs game from Darius Springer. We should be beating the Spurs by 2, but okay. We lost off of a game-winning 3 from Naz Reid against Minnesota. Griffin missed a 3 for the win. So 2 really close games, interestingly, against Minnesota. Scoot Henderson in his first 8 games back has played awesome. He has not missed a beat. The outside shooting's been a little suspect, but other than that, the scoring, the passing, he's back. Some notable games include this loss against the Hornets. This was the one game Lillard played, and he did really well. He was 3 for 3 before he got hurt. We beat the Celtics by nearly 50. Scoot Henderson had 18 assists. That's tied for 4th most in a game in Blazer history. Against the Cavs, Springer scored 45 and 14 while being guarded by Evan Mobley, one of the best defenders in basketball. Nobody else on offense showed up other than Shaedon Sharpe, but we still won that game by 20. That's an MVP-type performance, if I do say so myself, from Springer. The Miami Heat are really bad. We had no business trailing going into halftime of this game, but we were still able to hold on to win it. And again, the Sonics are not a very good team. Should not have won that by only 10. I feel like we haven't played as well so far in the second half of the year than we did in the first half. But with all the injuries we've had, it's fine. We're still 9 games over the Kings for first place. We've officially clinched a play-in spot. And with one more win, we can guarantee not only a playoff spot, but a top 3 seed, since 4 through 9 are pretty much identical. The Western Conference playoff race is going to get wild. The Pelicans and the Jazz have both heated up. I figured the Jazz were going to be a threat coming into the year. They're finally showing it. Obviously, Oklahoma City's talented. Dallas is talented. Minnesota's given us some tough games today. Really, the only team I'd be comfortable with playing in the first round would be the Spurs, since they're without Wembanyama. But even the Spurs just gave us a tough game a couple of weeks ago. So that's how good this conference is. There's going to be no easy series for us, even if we do win somewhere between probably 65 and 70 games, which is a whole lot. We're going to have a tough playoff series right off the bat with hopefully an 8 seed, assuming we clinch that number 1 spot, which hopefully will be in the next episode. And if we do clinch the number 1 seed, then we're going to make it through the rest of the regular season. There wouldn't really be a point to dragging it out, because I obviously want to get to the playoffs. I know you guys probably do as well. Next episode will also likely be a prospect profile. You guys have been patiently waiting for it, and we're finally going to take our first look at this year's draft class. Hope everybody enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.